Hello and welcome. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. We are interrupting our regular programming to bring you a special broadcast on 11 years of the Narendra Modi government. Now, 9th June is the anniversary of the inauguration of Prime Minister Modi's third term in office. Remember, the BJP-led government won a third successive election in 2024. Narendra Modi has since become the longest-serving Prime Minister belonging to a party other than the Congress. He is only the second leader to win 3 straight terms in India's history. We'll be joined by guests who will put the 11 years of Modi government in the proper context for you, the viewer. As the BJP-led National Democratic Alliance government completes 11 years in power, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday said the government's focus throughout has been on improving the lives of the poor and delivering development for all. The milestone also marked 1 year of Modi's third term as Prime Minister. In a social media post, the Prime Minister said that powered by the blessings and collective participation of 140 crore Indians, the country has witnessed rapid transformations across diverse sectors in the last 11 years. He said his government has been guided by the principle of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas, which means everyone's support, everyone's development, everyone's faith and everyone's effort in English. He said the NDA government has delivered path-breaking changes that with speed, scale and sensitivity. From economic growth to social uplift, the focus has been on people-centric, inclusive and all-round progress. The Prime Minister said the country today is not just the fastest-growing major economy, but also a key global voice on pressing issues such as climate change and digital innovation. He said India looks ahead with hope, confidence and a renewed resolve to build a Viksit Bharat, that is a developed India.
जब उज्ज्वला योजना से 10 करोड़ से ज्यादा फ्री एलपीजी कनेक्शन मिले तो धुएं ही नहीं बीमारियों से भी बचाव हुआ.
And Prime Minister Modi reflected on India's transformative journey over the last 11 years, emphasizing the significant improvements that have enhanced ease of living. The Prime Minister said that the last 11 years have brought many positive changes and boosted ease of living. The Namo app takes you through this transformative journey in an innovative manner through interactive games, quizzes, surveys and other such formats that inform, engage and inspire. But let me quickly give you a snapshot of the Modi government's achievements. As my colleague Antara Sinha reports, they reflect a new era of governance that's rooted in equity, backed by data and powered by the resolve to serve every citizen.
"11 years of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, Sabka Prayas." Poverty alleviation. Nation lifted 171 million people out of extreme poverty over the past decade. EPFO enrolled around 7.54 lakh new subscribers in March 2025, 0.98% year-over-year growth. IMF paper credits India with ending extreme poverty. UNDP MPI 2023 shows significant poverty reduction. Basic amenities to all. 15.59 crore rural households get tap water connections. 8 states and 3 UTs achieve 100% Har Ghar Jal coverage. 12 crore household toilets built. 5.64 lakh villages declared ODF+. 2.86 crore households electrified. 22.6 hours average rural electricity supply. 81 crore beneficiaries receive free ration under NFSA. Rupees 11.80 lakh crore allocated for food security till 2028. 5 lakh rupee health cover per family under Ayushman Bharat. 55 crore beneficiaries covered under PMJAY. All citizens aged 70 plus included under Ayushman Vay Vandana. Over 10.33 crore LPG connections provided under PMUY. Financial security. Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana, more than 52.77 crore loan accounts extended. PM Jan Dhan Yojana, a national mission for financial inclusion. More than 55.17 crore accounts. 68 lakh loans disbursed to street vendors under PM Swanidhi. Support for entrepreneurs and workers. India is the third largest startup and unicorn ecosystem in the world. 1.57 lakh startups recognized, 118 unicorns established, 30.86 crore unorganized workers registered on eShram portal, 53.75% women participation in eShram, 2.37 million artisans registered under PM Vishwakarma, 68 lakh street vendors supported under PM Swanidhi, 76.28 lakh vendors formalized, 30.86 crore unorganized workers registered on eShram portal, 53.75% women participation in eShram. Dignity and protection for transgenders, persons with disabilities. Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act 2019 enacted for protection of rights of transgender people. National Council for Transgender Persons constituted to advise government on issues related to transgender persons. Bureau Report, DD India.
All right, time to bring in the guests. Joining us are economist Dr. Taran Singh and journalist Aditi Tandon. Dr. Singh is the CEO and founder director of eGrow Foundation, and Ms. Tandon is associate editor with the Tribune newspaper. Dr. Singh, if I can start with you, I want you to come in and talk about this government's focus on 1, inclusive development, and 2, ease of living.
Yes, I think these are very pertinent questions. And if we have to take growth forward, as you know, how do you define growth? The GDP? The GDP means that the number of hands available in the country and the amount of capital coming together and producing things. So now, when you talk of inclusive growth, it means that everybody becomes part and parcel of the growth story. I think the biggest achievement under inclusive development would be the Jan Dhan Yojana. We at the RBI were trying for a very long time. I used to be an employee of the Reserve Bank. We were trying for a very long time to ensure that accounts reach villages and almost everybody in the country should come out of the clutches of the money lender and should be able to borrow at competitive rates from the banking industry. You'll be surprised, despite nationalization in 69 and 80, by the time we were doing the studies in 2007 and 8, about 40% of Indians had a bank account. When the Prime Minister came and joined in 2014, he started financial inclusion on a mission mode. And then you know it's a miracle. About 95 to 96% of Indians have a bank account today.
Right.
JAM Trinity became very, very important. Similarly, once everybody had an account, direct benefit transfers became very easy. Mudra loans become very easy. They became very handy during COVID time. During COVID time, the medical facilities were extended to one and all. So therefore, I think the Prime Minister's effort through the financial inclusion mission mode of Jan Dhan Trinity was very, very useful.
Right.
So to me, the inclusive development that has happened, and then of course we all know the things that he brought in, the startup for the youth and the schemes that he has brought for the women, where he wants them to join the Ujjwala scheme, which saves them of all the agony. The sanitation scheme is the best scheme, I would say, though people call it the toilet scheme. But I say if you look at the studies of child wasting and child stunting, child malnutrition, I think sanitation plays a very important role when he ensured that 12 crore houses have the toilets within them. Then the water. Everybody, water is easily accessible on the taps, and then the electrification of houses that has taken place, and now through the solar system that he is extending. So to my mind, what started in 2014 under Jan Dhan expanded very rapidly and was very inclusive. That has happened over the years. So you take different segments, You take women, you take the youth, everybody is getting included into this
Right. If
whole
you allow me,
scheme
Dr.
of taking the
Singh, if I
country
may bring
forward.
in my other guest on this broadcast, Ms. Tandon, how do you describe the government's focus on good governance to begin with?
See, I would largely agree with the expert who's just mentioned how the JAM Trinity has actually helped plug a number of, loopholes in the system. And almost, if we look at the government data and analyze it, around 3.9 lakh crore of, leakages have been prevented through the JAM Trinity. So that is the tangible result of bringing a reform like that. As you said, good governance, the most important thing that the government has done is it has done away with a number of redundant laws. There were so many old archaic British time laws that have been now changed in order to decriminalize a lot of simple systems. Earlier, entrepreneurship had become such a major hassle because even for small, issues, a lot of criminalization and penalty clauses were part of the Indian legal system. But as we know, not just the Indian Penal Code has been completely reformed in order to, shed the last vestiges of the colonial mindset. We have also done away with a number of redundancies in the law, which practically means ease of living for people like common people and also ease of doing business for entrepreneurs. And then the larger result is the economy boom. That's what we have seen through a lot of reforms in the system. Then let's not forget that the goods and services tax that came in these 11 years and now, a lot of taxes have been rationalized. It's a fine example of cooperative federalism where finance ministers of all states are represented in the GST Council, and together in a democratic way, they decide on which taxes are to be lowered or which taxes are to be imposed. So that's one system that has really integrated the markets. And is a fine example of good governance because a single tax, a uniform tax across board is helping a lot of, again, it is helping streamline the financial systems and it is bringing in the much needed fiscal discipline which was missing. And when we also talk of good governance, the larger issue is also of, the anti-corruption systems that have been brought into a lot of government departments. We have an all new system that all civil servants are required to now go through. There's something called the Karam Yogi portal, where the government is insisting that all bureaucracy should have minimum skills, and there is a system of biometric attendance. These are small things, they don't really matter, but they enhance efficiency. They enhance government accountability. And the biggest issue in good governance is a faceless interaction across government platforms. For example, the most important platform being the income tax, which people like you and me are concerned about. We still remember the old times when we had to go through human interfaces, and there were a lot of potential for corruption in that. We all know that we had to pay under the table in order to get a lot of things done. Faceless income tax payment systems have removed all of that. So all this is just on the surface that we can see the good governance that is yielding good results.
Indeed. I'll come back to the both of you in just a bit, but in the meantime, I want to share some more numbers with our viewers. Viewers, get this. More than 15 new train coaches are built daily, enhancing the travel experience and meeting the growing demand of millions across India. Every day, more than 4 locomotives are built. These engines don't just pull trains, they drive growth, connect markets, and keep the nation moving. A new university is built every week. Classrooms are expanding and opportunities are multiplying. Every day, 2 new colleges are established, expanding access to higher education across the country. This steady growth is creating more opportunities for the youth to learn, grow, and lead. More than 10 crore 3 LPG connections, equal to the population of Canada, Spain, New Zealand, and Ireland combined, have been made available. Millions of households now have clean cooking fuel, improving health and quality of life. More than 55 crore Janathan bank accounts have been opened, which is more than the population of the European Union. Also, free ration has been made available to 81 crore people, enough to feed the entire US and South America combined. Right, going back to our guest, Dr. Singh, talking about leadership and decisive leadership as that, how would you define the Prime Minister's leadership quality and ability?
On a day like today, the question of leadership obviously reminds you of Operation Sindhur. Now you know what happened and how this whole thing has been handled, sending 32 delegations to different countries, making them come along, let them understand what terrorism is. I think he has set an example as to what leadership means. I also think the type of leadership that he has provided when it comes to economic issues, the type of support that he provided to MSMEs and PLI, I thought was also very, very interesting. MSME's definition was changed in the last few years. We are a country which take great pride in our civilization. Can you imagine for many, many years we were in a building that was built by the British? He brought a new parliament building. I think that's a great pride for every Indian and a leadership style that has really impressed all of us. He changed the name of that road to Kartavya Path. I thought these are symbolic, but these have lots of meaning in it. So I think that's very important. Now, a country which has such beautiful civilization, he has brought in the Char Dham Yatra, that 900-kilometer thing that he's building, which brings in our country. He has spoken at different forums about tourism and religious tourism playing a key role. The Mahakumbh that we saw in UP happening, I think is very, very important. He's setting up the India War Memorial, because we have been under so many wars. I think that again setting a good leadership role so that we know where we are and the Prime Minister is talking about those issues. I think these are very, very important things that he has set up when we talk about the leadership style that he is bringing to us. I also think that the museum in Delhi, celebrating the lives and contributions of all prime ministers in the past. So therefore, I think as a leader, he's now emerging as a statesman. He's not only just focused on his 11 years, he's trying to highlight the journey of the country over the 7 decades. And that Prime Minister's Sangrahalaya that he's now working on, I think is also very good. So I think the leadership style that he has shown, economics, cultural, social, and as a politician, I think is very, very good.
Right. Ms. Tandon, how would you say that the government is delivering what it's been promising all along? That's been a hallmark of this government. Promises made, promises kept.
See, what is the biggest yardstick whereby you will measure the performance of the government? Mostly you will look at the manifesto promises and where you stand in respect of the promises made. So if you judge this BJP government through that yardstick, yes, we can say that a lot of major promises, especially in the category that you just asked of decisive leadership, have been met. For instance, Article 370 has been abrogated in Jammu and Kashmir, which has ultimately led to the mainstreaming of a lot of issues in Jammu and Kashmir. A lot of national laws that were not applicable to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, for instance, pro-women laws, pro-child laws. For example, something as basic as the POXO Act, which protects children from sexual abuse, was also not implemented there because they had a special status. All that has now become possible. Plus, we have seen that democratization of the Kashmir Valley is also underway, and we've seen a huge turnout in the recent assembly election, more than 60%, which itself was a very good indicator of mainstreaming. That is one. In the decisive leadership category, again, another promise by the BJP government in the Lok Sabha election manifestos was, criminalization of triple talaq, which they managed to achieve despite a lot of opposition. GST, again, a bold economic reform against opposition, although it was an idea that germinated much before the, Narendra Modi government took shape. It was in the works, but the point is that it was the Narendra Modi government which was able to give it a legal and statutory backing. And then we can't forget the fact that 33% women's reservation also came in under the second term of Prime Minister Modi, that also becomes a very big reform.
Indeed.
And the Citizenship Amendment Act. See, these are very bold reforms that you, political reforms,
Right.
that you were actually able to manage a lot of political opposition, which continues to date. Demonetization, for instance. There was huge concern with respect to demonetization. The government went ahead with the plan, reconciled the opposition, and went ahead with what it had to do. There is a debate around how effective that was, but the point is a decisive leadership was taken and a decision was taken and implemented.
Right.
And it's for others to judge how well these things will basically bode for the country in the longer run, but decisive
Right.
leadership for sure.
Indeed. I want us to talk about another aspect or dimension of this government. Now, under PM Modi's visionary leadership, women have moved from the margins to the mainstream. From education to entrepreneurship, from self-help groups to leadership roles, millions of women and girls have found new strength, new opportunities, and a new sense of pride. India is rapidly becoming a key player in the global smartphone arena, with more than 63 lakh phones made every week. More than 84 lakh visits to Jan Aushadhi Kendras are reported every week. These trusted pharmacies across the country are making quality medicines easy to find and affordable for all. With unstoppable growth, innovation and resilience, India is shaping the future of the global economy as well. From startups to industry giants, the world is watching India lead the way. Water connections have been made available to more than 15 crore homes, enough for every person living in Russia. And soil health cards have been issued to more than 25 crore farmers, which is more than the population of Brazil. Right, Dr. Singh, if I can come back to women empowerment is another recurring theme. We've all heard about drone Didis and Lakpati Didis. How would you assess the government's focus on women-led development? Very quickly, if you will.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I've been a professor at IIM. I see the number of women students increasing there rapidly. That's very, very interesting to me. But if you look at the Prime Minister's thing when he joined, the female labor force participation was very, very low in the country.
Right.
And that female labor force participation over the last 10, 11 years is rising tremendously. I think that speaks volumes about what the Prime Minister is doing, be it the number of women in the parliament and reservations for them, on the inaugural of the new parliament, the bill on women being brought in, the mission Poshan, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, and the schemes that I just mentioned, the Ujjwala scheme, which can save them from their eyes getting hurt, sanitation, the toilet scheme, the water Har Jal Nal, and of course the drone schemes that you spoke about. The marriageable age that has been increased so women can get educated and become employable before getting into the responsibilities of the marriage. The maternity leave issue was another very burning issue, and I think that has been extended. So I think in a great way, the focus has been on women, and that is why the female labor force participation rate in the country has increased in the last 10 years.
Right. Ms. Tandon, we're running short of time. So one last question to you. 33% reservation for women in Parliament was hanging fire for a very long time, but it's become a reality finally. It's another key achievement of this government. And in closing, on a scale of 1 to 10, how many marks would you give this government?
Well, you're asking me a very tough question. But yes, certainly 7 to 8 on a scale of 10.
Okay.
And when we talk of women's empowerment, of course, not just the fact that women's reservation bill has come in and now the census exercise has been announced. So we can very soon in the near future hope for, greater women participation in the Lok Sabha, and that will be a very good and welcome change. But I just want to not end this conversation before mentioning that tomorrow will be a historic day, and we are assembled here on a very important day when Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla will take that historic Axiom 4 space mission to the International Space Station, becoming the first Indian after 41 years in space. So that also shows, look at our expansion of the space sector. We haven't been able to pay much attention, but the fact of the matter is so many countries are now hiring satellite launching facilities of India. We are just a mere 2% of the global space economy, but projected to expand extremely fast.
Indeed. On that note, may I thank both our guests, Ms. Aditi Tandon and Dr. Charan Singh, for joining us and sharing your perspectives with our viewers in India and around the world. Thank you for your time. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
And before we close, the BJP presented a comprehensive report on the Prime Minister Modi-led government's achievements over the past 11 years. In New Delhi, BJP President JP Nadda held a press conference in which he highlighted the government's achievements and outlining future goals for a developed India.
हमारी इकोनॉमी 10th से छलांग लगा करके 5th पर पहुंच गई और अब जो इंटरनेशनल मॉनेटरी फंड का जो अब नया डेटा आ रहा है वो हमको चौथे स्थान पर ला रहा है। फास्टेस्ट ग्रोइंग इकोनॉमी के रूप में हमारा चौथा साल लगातार चल रहा है। पर कैपिटा इनकम has increased by 67%. Foreign exchange reserves has increased by 135%. Exports at the record of to the US dollars is 825 billion. Gross FDI rise is 106%. Taxpayers का base बहुत increase हुआ है वो 127%. और उसी तरीके से gross डायरेक्ट टैक्स कलेक्शन ये भी 238% का इंक्रीज हुआ है।
And with that, it's a wrap. But news continues here on DD India. You can catch all the latest updates on our social media, mobile and digital platforms. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.